Hi guys, welcome to today's tutorial. Today we'll be looking at past questions on different exams like WAEC, NICO. Alright, so we'll be taking them randomly from different questions. So our first question today says, given that P is 25 meters on a bearing of 330 degrees from Q, how far south of P is Q? Now, this question talks about bearing and distance. So if you're looking at our statement, it says that P is 25 meters on a bearing of 330 from Q. So that means from Q, this is our point Q. So we calculate 330, which comes into this quadrant. Okay, so this is 330 degrees from Q, and this is our position P. Okay, now the statement says P is 25 meters from Q. How far south? So when we talk about how far south, that means we're talking about this. How far south is X. How far south of P is Q. So with this, we can calculate this angle. What would this angle be? Okay, knowing that this is 330, alright, total angle in the triangle is 360, right? So that means we have 30 left here, right? So if 30 degrees is left here, because 30 plus 330 will make a complete 360, okay? So for us to find this angle, either we do 90 minus 30 or 330 minus 270, which will still give us 60 degrees. So if you have 330 minus 270, we're having it as 60 degrees. Or we do 90 minus 30, we have it as 60 degrees. Now, knowing that the angle here is 60 degrees, so next thing we have to find is, this is at 90 degrees. So this x acts as our adjacent and y and 25 as our hypotenuse. So from here, we can now find x, knowing that we have SOHCAHTOA as adjacent over hypotenuse. So this becomes cos theta equals adjacent over hypotenuse, right? So we have our theta is 60 degrees. This becomes cos 60 equals adjacent x, hypotenuse is 25. So our x will become 25 times cos 60, and cos 60 is 0.5. So x equals 25 times 0.5. So x equals 12.5 meters. So our Q is how far south is P. How far south of P is Q. So this is 12.5 meters from Q. So peradventure, we are also to calculate this. Let's call this y. We have to calculate this, okay? This will become, this is opposite, alright? So opposite over hypotenuse will become sine theta equals opposite over hypotenuse. Alright, so from here we're having it as sine 60 equals opposite is y over hypotenuse. So this becomes y equals 25, which is our hypotenuse, times sine 60. So our y will give us 25 times sine 60 is 0.8660 times 25 would give us y equals 21.65, which is approximately 21.7 meters. So if we are to calculate our opposite too, it will give us 21.7 meters, depending on how you interpret it. And if you have to calculate this, it will give us 12.5 meters. Our next question says, the length and breadth of a cuboid are 15 cm and 8 cm respectively. If the volume of the cuboid is 1560 cm cube, calculate the total surface area. Now we know that for volume of cuboid, we have it as length times breadth times height. Okay, and total surface area of cuboid, we have it as 2 bracket LB plus BH plus LH. Okay, all right. Now, for volume, we've been given the volume to be 1560. Well, this will be 1560 equals length is 15 times breadth is 8 times height we do not know. So we can use this to find our height. So this becomes 1560 equals 15 times 8, 120h. So our h equals 1560 divided by 120, which will give us 156 divided by 12 will give us 13. So our height is 13 cm. Now, knowing that our height is 13 cm, we can now find our total surface area. Now, our total surface area, TSA, which is going to become 2 bracket length 15 times breadth 8 plus breadth 8 times height 13 plus length 15 times 13. Okay, now our TSA will give us 2 bracket 8 times 12, 8 times 15 will give us 120 plus 13 times 8 will give us 104 plus 15 times 13 will give us 195. Now, adding it all together, this becomes 195 plus 104 plus 120, which will give us 419. So times 2, TSA equals 838 centimeter square. That will be our TSA. This question says, in the diagram, SQR is 52 degrees and PRT is 16 degrees. Find the area marked Y. So we are looking for those marked Y. So for the angle marked Y, before we can get the angle marked Y, we have to find some other angles in this diagram. So let's get into it. So finding our angle, let's call this angle A. Finding angle A, we know that A plus 52 plus 16 equals 180. Our reason is sum of angles in a triangle. Okay, now A plus this will give us 68 equals 180 degrees. Alright, so A equals 180 minus 68, which will give us 112 degrees. Now, knowing that our A is 112 degrees, we can find Z. Our Z will become 180 minus 52, which will give us 180 minus 52, which will give us 128. Okay, reason angles on the straight line. Angles on a straight line. Okay, now our x will become 180 minus our value of A, which is 112 degrees, which will give us 68 degrees. Reason angles on a straight line. We know that angles on the straight line form 180 degrees, sum up to 180 degrees. But now in a cyclic quadrilateral, we know that in PQST equals cyclic quadrilateral. Okay, and in a cyclic quadrilateral, opposite angles are supplementary. That means x plus y equals 180 degrees. So if x is 68 degrees plus y equals 180, then y equals 180 minus 68, which will give us 112 degrees. So the value of y in this equation or in this diagram is 112 degrees. If you've watched up to this moment, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click on the notification buttons for more updates. You can also follow us on Facebook page at Mathematics Simplified. Find the value of h in the diagram below. Now, in this diagram, we have to find the value of h. In order to do this, we know that this diagram is a trapezium. Alright, so for us to find h, since this are 90 degrees, we can find this. Bearing in mind that from here to here is 17. So we can find x. Let's look for x. Now bringing out this diagram, this smaller triangle here, alright, we have it as this is 19, this is 20, and we have x. Now, we can now apply a Pythagoras theorem in this diagram. Applying a Pythagoras theorem will be a hypotenuse squared equals opposite squared plus adjacent squared. So in this case, this will become 20 squared equals x squared plus 19 squared. Now 20 squared is 400 and x squared is 19 times 19, which is 361. Okay, so x squared will become 400 minus 361. So x squared equals 400 minus 361 will give us a 39 degrees. Now, knowing that our x will become root 39. So root of 39 would give us 6.245. Alright, now if x is 6.245, so h will be 17 plus x. So h equals 17 plus 6.245, which will give us plus 17 would give us 23.245 centimeters. So the value of h will be 23.245 centimeters. Our next question says two opposite sides of a rectangle are 5x plus 3 and 2x plus 9. If the adjacent side is 6x minus 7, find the area of the rectangle. Now, in calculating the area of this rectangle, let's put this in a diagram form. We have a rectangle this way, and the said two opposite sides are 5x plus 3 and 2x plus 9. And the adjacent side is 6x minus 7. Now, we know that in a rectangle, these two sides are equal. So we can equate these two as 5x plus 3 equals 2x plus 9. Now, if we equate it, let's solve for x. Solving for x here, we are having it as 5x minus 2x equals plus 9 minus 3. So this will give us 5 minus 2 will give us 3x equals 6. Okay, so x equals 6 over 3, which will give us 2. So the value of x is 2. Now, we know that area of a rectangle equals length times breadth. And in this case, our length is 5x plus 3 times 6x minus 7. Now, where x is 2 will become 5 brackets 2 plus 3 times 6 brackets 2 minus 7. Alright, so 5 brackets 2 will give us 10 plus 3 times 12 minus 7. Now, 10 plus 3 will give us 13 times 5 minus 7 will give us 5. 12 minus 7 will give us 5. So 13 times 5 will give us 65 meters squared. So the area of the triangle will be 65 meters squared. Our next question says, the area of a sector of a circle with radius 7 cm is 51.3 cm squared. Now, calculate the angle of the sector. So in this question, we are asked to calculate the angle of the sector, that is the theta in which the sector is subtended. Now, for this, we are going to have our area. Remember that area of sector equals theta over 360 pi r squared. Now, we have to be looking for this. We've been given the area. Pi is constant, 22 over 7, and we'll be given the radius as 7. So, area, which is 51.3, equals theta, which we are looking for, over 360 times 22 over 7, which is a pi, times 7 times 7, all over 1. Now, 7 will cancel 7, alright, leaving us with 51.3 equals 7 times 22 will give us 154 theta all over 360. Now we can cross multiply. This becomes 360 times 51.3 equals 154 theta. So divided by this, our theta will become 360 times 51.3 all over 154, which will give us 360 times 51.3 would give us 18,468 all over 154 would give us, divided by 154 would give us 119.92, which is approximately 120 degrees. So the angle of the sector will be 120 degrees. Our next question says, a cliff on the bank of a river is 87 meters high. A boat on the river is 22 meters away from the cliff. Calculate the angle of depression of the boat from the top of the cliff. Now, if we have a cliff this way, let's say this is a cliff, okay, and this is the river. Alright, the height of this cliff is 87 meters. Alright, and the boat here is equals angle of elevation. Okay, so our angle of depression here equals angle of elevation here. So why? They are alternate. Okay, they form an alternate angle. So angle of depression equals elevation. Okay, so angle of depression equals our angle of elevation.
Now, since we're asked to find the angle of depression, alright, now let's bring out this diagram as a rectangle triangle. Since we know that angle of elevation is same as angle of depression, so we can now use our angle of elevation to represent our depression. So this becomes theta, alright, 87 and 22 degrees. Now, bearing in mind, and 22 meters, sorry. Bearing in mind that this is our adjacent and this is our opposite, and we are looking for this, we are applying our rule that so Cartwell. Alright, in this case, we have opposite and adjacent. So we are using our tan theta equals opposite over adjacent. Where our tan theta would be, opposite is 87 over adjacent, which is 22. So our tan theta would become 87 divided by 22, which will give us 3.9545. So theta equals tan inverse of 3.9545. Okay, so tan inverse of 3.9545, which will give us theta equals 75.81 degrees. So our theta will become 75.81 degrees. Alright, to the nearest degree, that will become 76 degrees. So to the nearest degree will become 76 degrees. Alright. Our next question says, for what value of y is y plus 2 over 8y squared minus 10y plus 3 not defined? Now, it's important to note that for our question not to be defined, the denominator will be equals to 0. Okay? Now, the value of our denominator, we have to factorize that denominator, alright, to find the factors of y that will make this equation 0. Now, in solving this becomes 8y squared minus 10y plus 3 equals 0. So we have to factorize this equation to find the values of y. Okay? So if we factorize 8 times 3, will give us 24y squared. Okay? Now, what are the factors of 24 that will give us 10? We have it as 12 and 2. Alright? So this becomes 12. Since this is minus, our bigger number will be negative. Alright? But on the other hand, this is positive. Alright, so minus 12 times 2 will give us a minus 24. So 12 and 2 would not work. So let's look for another factor of 24. Okay, we have minus 6 and minus 4. Minus 6 times minus 4 will give us positive 24. Minus 6 plus minus 4 will give us minus 10. So this would work. Alright, now in having this becomes, substituting this for 10y, this becomes 8y squared minus 6y minus 4y plus 3 equals 0. Alright, we group these two together. Alright, this we are having as, what's common here? 2y is common. So if we remove 2y from 8y, we have 4y minus 2y from 6y, we have 3. What's common here is 1. So if we remove 1 from each, you have 4y minus 3. Y minus times minus will form a plus equals 0. Now you can see we have two common, we have like terms in our bracket. So we'll bring this and this together as 2y minus 1 equals 0 and 4y minus 3 equals 0. So therefore 2y equals 1 and y equals 1 over 2, and so therefore 4y equals 3 and y equals 3 over 4. So the two factors that will make our question, our equation not to be defined will be y equals half and y equals 4 over 3. With this, we've come to the end of today's tutorial. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click on the notification button for more updates. If there are any questions or comments, put them down in the comment section below. Thank you.